All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me on today's show is a very special guest, his third appearance, and this, in fact, is his first public interview since all the drama, and everybody knows what drama I'm talking about, that happened between Hit Network, Bitboy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, and all the other people that we'll be talking about today. So, Ben, I appreciate you coming on the show and giving me this first interview, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And, I gave you this first interview because, you've been very fair and balanced on this whole thing. And I've really learned, who my friends are through this situation. And you've been right there as good as anybody else. And, you've listened to both sides. And, I appreciate you. And, it doesn't matter to me doing my first interview. Like, it doesn't matter what size the channel is. I could have gone on plenty of other channels that are, maybe a little more well-known in crypto, but I really appreciate the way you've handled the situation. I thought you deserved it.
Thank you, man. I do appreciate that, man. And, obviously I do have some tough questions to ask you, just to say it up front. I'm searching for the truth. Like you said, I'm trying to stay as neutral as possible. I'm friends with you. I'm friends with a lot of the people that are involved. Shout out to Altcoin Daily for the interview that they did with TJ. I thought they did a great job trying to stay as neutral as possible, ask questions, even from your perspective. And I know that you're going to be interviewing with them tomorrow, Friday. We're recording this on the 5th of October. Hopefully it'll come out today. If not, it'll be out early Friday. And make sure you guys tune in for the Altcoin Daily interview. I'll have a link for that down below. And I've told you as a friend, man, for quite some time that I've been concerned about your mental health. Everything from the Atozi lawsuit to the Sam Bankman-Fried stuff, the Bahamas, the doxing of the founder of Shiba Inu, the verbal onslaughts of Gary Gensler, kind of making yourself a target, poking the bear, even having the lizard, that you named Gary, and talking about moving to Dubai, your erratic behavior, rants. And again, I was just concerned, man. So I'm glad to see you in a better mental space right now, because you're definitely in a different place now than I think you were even a week ago.
Well, yeah, I'm on very solid ground now. Now, the way there was a period of time where I felt like I was in a psychological prison for sure, and I've broken out of it. I've talked about it before. A lot of the things that have been said and have been done to me have been absolutely atrocious, unbearable on me and my family. And it has been. This is something when the truth comes out, people are going to understand that, I've been the most vilified person in crypto for a long time for a lot of reasons. But then for it to be my own friends that did it to me, it's just absolutely hard to imagine. And I would really push back on, look, guys, I've always been this way. Like, I've always been. The word erratic implies that, like, all of a sudden you start acting different. Like, I've always been fiery. I've always gone on rants.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
On the channel. But the thing is I push against sensitive areas, and that's something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And people say, "Oh, I can't. He's so crazy. I can't believe he's doing it." Look, guys, if you look at this situation, like even when everybody knows I was arrested I guess it was 2 weeks ago.
I think it was a week ago.
Yeah,
I think we were.
It was a week. Because I think it feels like 7 years.
Today's Thursday. We were supposed to do the interview last Tuesday. I think it was last Wednesday that you went to Kentucky. If we're on the same timeline. Yeah. And you canceled because your lawyers had advised you just to kind of take a moment, stop talking, and with that being said, you were even advised as to what you can and can't say with today's interview. And to even add a disclaimer, same thing with TJ. When TJ did the interview with Altcoin Daily, same thing. There were some things that he didn't mind discussing, and there were some things that he said that he could not get into for legal reasons. So if that's one of the answers to the question, obviously I respect that. But if you can try to be as forthcoming as possible without adding any ammunition to what's already been kind of already added.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's the thing. We're in a strong position. I don't need to add any ammunition. At this point, this is about me helping to grow my new channel and letting people know that I'm here. I'm not scared. Things are great with me. Have a new studio, new team, better team than I ever dreamed of having. We've got the NWF is our new world finance. It's got some NWO vibes from wrestling. Me and Jay Chains.
Totally wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always said there's all YouTube videos I watch are old school wrestling videos. So, and this is new for me, right? This is new for me having to watch what I say, because I'm known for not watching what I say. but our position is one in such that, you know, I can only hurt the case at this point by things that I say about it. So I can rehash things that somewhat that we've already talked about publicly, but I can't give any new information per se. And the facts are, like, I think this is a lot about just the tale of what has happened. You know, my journey in crypto, the evolution of me going from being Bitboy to Ben Armstrong, and that's really what people, you know, I hope see from this.
The artist formerly known as Bitboy Crypto.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a link down below for your new Twitter account, and you mentioned your new YouTube channel, so I'll have a link down below for that. You quickly passed my channel up. I've been struggling with my shadow banning and such, man. Yeah. You know, I know if I wasn't dealing with a lot of controversial stuff that I would probably be in a lot different of a position. So yeah. It is what it is. I do appreciate, you know, again, you coming on. And for people who don't know about your new channel, I'll have it linked down below. Make sure you guys are following on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and also Ben Armstrong Crypto on the YouTubes. So the first thing I guess I want to ask you, bro, is when did this hit network Bitboy fallout begin between you, TJ, Justin Williams, and whomever else is involved? And if you want to include how and why, when, how, and why did this fallout begin?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you look back at the history of my company, and now that I've really looked over a lot of stuff and a lot of old messages, a lot of old emails, you know, I believe that this has been set up for a long time against me. And, you know, it's one of those things where you look back and you start to add up a lot of tiny coincidences. Suddenly it doesn't look like a coincidence anymore. I do know that if you go back, I will say this. If you go back to when I was in Alaska in September of last year, I went moose hunting, moose and grizzly bear combo hunting in Alaska, brought back a big old moose. No grizzly bear. It's a long story. Almost drowned in a flood. But the point is that there were some things that occurred right before that trip. Of course, the Atozi lawsuit was going on right during that time, which that was a big disaster. That was one of those times where people were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, I knew things would be good. I knew things would blow over. Like, that was not mentally hard for me at all. It's the worst loss I've ever taken in crypto and in social media. Was going out, you know, trying to file a lawsuit against Atozi, and he said one thing in a video that was completely false. And I wanted to go after that one thing, and the lawyer I used for the case didn't put the one thing I wanted to go after in the lawsuit, and it made me look terrible. And I understand why people thought what they thought about it. And so there was a lot of like kind of draining things that were going on at the time. That was much harder on my office than it was on me, because I take this stuff in stride. Like, if people knew anything about what's been going on here behind the scenes and why this has been done, and all the things that, you know, the harassment and, you know, the harassment of family members of mine, you know, hiding of some of my assets from me, you know, so things like that, like, people would be shocked. People are going to look back on how I handled this situation. They're not going to believe it when the truth comes out. So I think for me, you know, it's one of these things where, you know, I look at what happened when I was on that hunting trip, and leading up to that hunting trip, there were some discussions of some people being fired. I've got all the messages and everything. And when I talked about firing some of these people, that is when I believe a plan was launched in August and September of last year to be able to overthrow me. I've got plenty of proof of this. And so for the last year, it's really been people just sitting and waiting for the right time. And the involvement in this of other people there, I think, is very deep. I don't think everyone that is at that studio is complicit. I don't think everyone understands what's going on underneath the surface there. And they will tell you that they do. They'll say, "Oh no, we know what's going on." No. I promise. You think you do, but you don't. The only people that know the truth are the people at the very top and me, and that's it. And there's nobody that extends out after that. And so
I can attest to that, because after talking to everybody, I'm still kind of confused.
Right. Well, I think that's by, you know, confusion
by design.
It's a good war strategy. Absolutely. 100%. That's why you only get, I had to be vague about some answers here on this interview, but you do see from me, like, I've told the same story since day one. Now, I've learned new things that have added on to that, but I've told the same story since day one. In May, go ahead.
the video that you did with your wife after the cheating of the affair came out, the Carlos audio leak, that video, you kind of flipped. You went the opposite direction because you came out immediately. You came out, obviously, you know, you felt attacked, but then and talking negatively about all the parties involved, and talking about the Bitcoin Telegram, I think was the first public thing that you did. Get the AMA on the Bitcoin Telegram. So, and then you did the video with your wife, and you kind of took back a lot of those things, and you spoke very highly of people like Justin Williams, TJ, Vumio, the company, and so forth. So we can get into that, but that's the only inconsistency I saw. Right?
Yeah, people have to understand that that was under death threat, and after it happened, I came out, and when I was did the lead calls. That's what I said happened. I was under a death threat, guys, and I've really been scared for my life. This is not, and I'm still scared for my life. I'm as scared for my life as I've ever been. I'm just choosing not to live in that fear. But the threat is real, and the threat is coming not just from. I believe there are people that are outside of that building also that are involved in this, and the threat to the danger of my life. At this point, though, like all of the things that I know and I've discovered and the evidence that I have. There are other people who now have that evidence. And so because of that, now, even if a shot were to be taken at me, it's irrelevant. The truth is already out there and people are going to find it. So, well, not they're going to find it. People are going to tell it. So I think for me, that's been the scariest thing about all this. And that's why I made the apology. Now, look, certainly I'm sorry I had an affair. Certainly. I mean, I'm sorry for the public humiliation that I've caused my family. Now, I did this to my family. I didn't cause the public humiliation. I mean, people see the kicking of a man while he's down, and you know the double talk of, oh, we really care about him, but also like, hey, here, let's tell you every bad thing he's ever done to try to sway public opinion. So people see through all that stuff, and everybody from the outside looking in understands what's going on. The only people that you know are seeing what they want to see through rose-colored glasses are people who are inside of that building over there. And people that support that side, which is not very many people. And so I think from a logical perspective, people looking at this from the outside in, you know, everyone can see that there's something wrong. Everyone can see that there's something that doesn't add up. Because, you know, you look at it from a business sense, everybody's saying, I don't understand. Why has Ben not in the building? The channel is taking. Obviously, because that's not what this is about. This isn't about business. It's about something much deeper than that.
Right. I feel you. And I know that, you know, a lot of this will come out after everything is settled, after the dust settles, whether it's a court battle or an actual settlement. We don't know what's going to take place, but that's when I think all the information will be kind of readily available to people and they'll have a fuller understanding. So it was Sunday, August 27th that they announced basically privately to around the blockchain members and I guess other people that were associated. Privately to a bunch of YouTubers, which, you know, doesn't really make for private because it obviously got leaked by a couple people, but they announced it publicly on Monday, the 28th of August, and did that video talking about you relapsing into substance abuse and to reconcile emotional, physical, and financial damage to employees of Hit Network and Bit Squad. When you were out of town when all this took place, you were in Colorado and at Rare Evo, right? Did you have any clue that this was going to take place when it happened? What were your immediate thoughts, and did you know it was going to happen?
How could I have? The day before, TJ said he wanted to mediate with me. I had the text message. He said, yeah, let's mediate. Let's sort this out. That was the last text message that he sent me before all this happened. And so I was under good faith that we were going to get all this straightened out when I got back from out of town. But, you know, I guess I was living in a world at that point where I was nervous about what was happening, but I didn't see this move because it's unprecedented. Like you don't see this in business, a 33% owner, a one-person, 33% minority owner overthrowing a 67% owner and founder who created the company and gave him a job and made him a millionaire overnight when I signed him to a 33% deal that I should have never signed him to. And so obviously, you know, what I've realized is I was never in control of my own building. I was never in control of my building. I thought I was, but I look back at all the text messages I have of all the times I tried to fire, tried to separate from TJ, tried to fire his dad, tried to fire Justin, And I've got text messages of all these times I told TJ we need to fire these people, and they were never fired. And you start to see that there was always there was always a plan in cahoots, from people in that building against me. And I think there was some brainwashing of people on lower levels. And I think there's still brainwashing, still active brainwashing. I think when the people that are saying these things about me over there, when all this comes out and they understand why they were used as pawns against me, they're going to be left with some weird feelings. I don't know what that's going to be like for them. But I assume that there's going to be a lot of people in that building that are going to need counseling when all this is over, and it has nothing to do with me. So I think that, it's just one of those things where, like, I woke up and my wife called me, and she was the first one that told me what had happened. I had noticed that I was locked out of my YouTube account, but I didn't really think anything about it. But there was a strategic plan to remove me from every account, so I didn't have access to any evidence that could be used against the other parties in my email. The email was completely deleted, so every email conversation that I ever had was now gone. And so it was one of these things where I just woke up kind of in a stupor of like, okay, well, what do I do now? And I basically spent a good part of that Sunday just kind of sitting back, thinking. People know I was absent from social media, thinking about what I was going to do. And it's funny, it's always been presented to, I know, the employees that it's over. It's over, guys. I'm not coming back. It's over. That's the way it's been presented, but there's never been a moment where that was true. I've been fighting from day one, and I'll continue to fight all the way. This is going to end up in court. And if they're very confident that they're going to win, well, good, let's go at it, because there's a 0% chance that they're walking away with everything that I own. Also they can't afford a buyout. There's no buyout they can possibly make me. So sure, offer me a buyout, sure, offer it. We'll see what it looks like. But there's going to have to be an appraiser that's going to have to go in there and open the books to see what the value may be. And so I'm really looking forward to someone coming in there and opening the books.
Right. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And as far as TJ and Justin Williams, do you think that they were trying to work together to save themselves because they were threatened, feeling like they were going to be fired, no longer a part of the company?
They were fired. There's a text message directly from me to TJ saying that when I get back, I would like for TJ, his dad, and Justin Williams to all be out of the building. That was before they fired me. And that's why in the leaked audio call, TJ says, "Oh, I only did this because you said I was fired. You said that you didn't want to move forward with me," and he didn't want that. And so everyone heard on the call what was said. And so this has been a clever ruse from day one.
Was this because TJ mentions the Monday before the firing, which would have been the Monday before you went to Rare Evo, that there was a physical altercation that Carlos had to break up.
There's no physical altercation. That's a lie.
Okay, but we can get into the altercation stuff. But was that the incident that caused you ultimately to say to TJ he was fired?
No, I told him the day before. The day before, and he showed up to work, and I was surprised. And that's why the first thing I did that morning when I got there was I asked Justin's people to move his stuff out of his office, and that's what happened. Basically, everyone knows that there is a third party involved in this, who basically came in and told me I wasn't allowed to do that. I mean, guys, if you go watch the live stream that is on that channel that I did on that Monday morning, you can see about, I don't know, maybe it's 5 minutes into that video, that third party comes into my office and tries to intimidate me by being present. And you will see me look around the computer and basically ask him to leave. There was intimidation from the very beginning, trying to force my hand. I've never had the power to fire the people in the building, and I didn't realize it because they were all working together.
That's interesting. I mean, I know that there's an operating agreement and a structure, but I don't know. I'm not privy to knowing what that information is, what everybody agreed to, what everybody didn't agree to. So, I mean, that's contract law. Contract law is pretty damn plain. If everybody signed, especially if they signed, willingly, and it sounds like when the company was formed, everybody's willingly signed.
Well, right, but someone can sign an operating agreement, but if that operating agreement is never actually adhered to, or if the section of the operating agreement is applied incorrectly, which most definitely is the case in this case, then it doesn't matter. It's not, it's invalid. You can't just take a clause or a section of an operating agreement and say, oh, I'm going to use this right now, but you don't have any due process. You don't have any documentation. You don't have any right to do so. And especially like, hey, guess what? You don't get to apply the operating agreement after I told you we need to you were separating from me. That at that point, anything he did going forward is invalid.
All right.